Start out. Everybody here. We're going to get started. We're a couple minutes behind, but we'll be okay. My name is Rachel. I work at BYU Law School. I'm one of the ones who helped kind of set up this conference, and I'm going to be introducing Dr. Anderson. Bonnie Brenton Anderson is the Douglas and Effie Driggs Professor of Information Systems at Brigham Young University. She also serves as the Department Chair of the Information Systems Department. She has been at BYU since receiving her PhD from Carnegie Mellon University in 2001. Dr. Anderson enjoys learning as she researches. Her first passion is her husband and 4 daughters. Her hobbies include traveling, playing the harp, family activities, and the occasional shark encounter. Give a good welcome to Dr. Anderson.
Thank you. So I'm hoping this will show up in just a second here. But normally that works. We'll try one more time. So as far as my professional qualifications for this topic, I don't research this. I am not an expert based on that, but just having lived this for a while is why I offered this when Rick asked me to do some sort of presentation. If you want to know what I spend my time researching or teaching, that's more about user experience design or how to use neuroscience to improve computer security behavior in users. But instead, I'm going to talk about what I've been living, and probably a lot of you as well. And so instead of this being just me talking at you, what I want to do is have a lot of discussion. I have some slides where I'm asking for your experiences and to practice with your neighbors. So I'm hoping that we can get a good discussion going and that you're prepared to talk with people around you. Some people, that's the worst thing ever. They'd rather not talk to anybody. But that's all right. So we're going to start with what's the difference between surviving and thriving. But I think a lot of the time, when I almost titled the presentation, How to Survive, I thought, no, let's be a little more optimistic, a little more cheerful. So surviving is, you continue to live or exist in spite of this hardship, whereas thriving is either, and there are 2 definitions I have here, to grow vigorously or to progress toward or realize a goal despite or because of the experiences. So because it's a little bit harder, maybe it's a better thing. I'm going to turn off one light here. Does that help? Okay. Whoops, I switched what I was going to use for this. All right, so I've decided to frame it kind of in these main topics, and there's a lot of things that could go a lot of places, but to keep it in our time limit, this is how I am framing it today. Oh, I was going to tell you up front as well, I've already got this posted in box.com. I will share the link. It's at the end of my presentation. And Desiree, I just noticed you. She's a former student. Long time no see. All right, so what are some of the stereotypes that you've heard about women working in these types of fields? So my personal experience is in tech. I've been one of those lone women in tech for about 20 years or maybe longer. You may have some different experiences. So what have you heard? Women are too emotional, too soft. Can't make the tough decisions. Oh. Indecisive. Okay, indecisive. Right, that if you act like a man, oh, that's unbecoming of a lady. That you do need to be softer and nicer, but not too soft or nice, because then there's a problem. So that is one of the problems even with today's presentation. I'm like, well, trying to get some things, and these are some that I see a little bit more. Oh, girls aren't good. And they use girls a lot. Have you guys noticed that? I try to correct even some of my colleagues. Yeah, we got 3 girls in class. They're women. They are college students. They are women. Are they 7? No. Okay, they're women. And maybe I shouldn't do that. Here's a little comic that I love. Yeah. Have you guys seen that one before? And the reason it really resonates with me, sorry the resolution did not turn out great there, is because when they only know like 1 or 2 women, you represent all women to them. So if she's bad at math, this may be the only person he sees that is a woman doing math, and so, well, all women must be bad at math. And my kids, I have 4 daughters, they just get so mad about that one. So there is some research that show that oftentimes women have to provide more evidence of competence than men do. Men are more likely to be influenced by other men, and this dates back to childhood. So that's a hard situation to break. I read a number of books about the biology of it, just to see, because Does everybody know about the Google memo? James Darramore, why women are biologically inferior in this variety of ways. That there is some basis for some societal norms. And this is one that just kills me, but I have witnessed it, and I'm trying to work around it. And I've got a couple ideas, I'll tell you guys later, that they're not likely to listen to women unless this, or this, or you get your buddy to say it instead, or some things like that. And implicit bias is real. There are studies that show that, and women have it as well. And I get so embarrassed when I don't do as well on one of those tests that I think I should. So I'm making that conscious effort to put scientists and women together instead of, anyway. And this is a statistic you may have heard kind of generically. I looked up the source, that men apply for a job when they meet 60% of the qualifications. They think, I'm qualified. And women wait until they're 100% qualified. That they, and here's kind of the more detail on it, the reason the women or the men won't apply for a job, and the women don't want to waste their time. They don't think they're going to be hired because they're not qualified. And the guys, they don't care. What do you mean? I've got 60% of it. I'm qualified. And men tend to get promoted based more on potential, and women tend to get promoted based on experience. What have you done, Jenny? Okay, we can promote you. But Julie, you haven't done a lot. I know you have a lot of potential, but yeah, we're going to promote Jerry because he's got a lot of potential too. So that's really frustrating. So we are not going to talk much about this. This could be a whole day or two or course. We even have some good courses on it. We need to negotiate. So I'm just going to say that. Here's a book. Linda Babcock is one of the authors. She was the director of my PhD program when I was getting it at Carnegie Mellon. So I've really appreciated her words on this. So again, without further comment, we're just going to say negotiate. You need to negotiate your salary, your leaves, your workload, all sorts of things, paid time off. Use data to prove your point, and try to come up with a win-win solution. Katie Lillianquist is an expert in this area. She talks about even smile. If you're on the phone negotiating, smile. They can hear it in your voice, that we're looking for a win-win. How can we both be happy? And I think that's a little harder for me to implement. So, because we got started late, I'm going to skip this one, but we'll have more of that. Okay, so communication. That we need to learn to speak more authoritatively. That men tend to have that it's a thing with them. And maybe you've seen when a bunch of guys are together where they're razzing each other and, you know, who's kind of the dominant guy. They've done that since childhood. That's how they operate. We, women, tend to be socialized, you know, even in kindergarten, that we don't want anybody to feel bad. That why would we say that mean thing about them? And when the boys are teasing us, that makes us sad. Why would they think we think they like us if they're razzing us? Well, because when guys are friends with guys, then they razz each other and whatever. And so for us to communicate better when it's predominantly male, some of the things we can do are just, instead of, you know, a narrative about whatever, just hear the facts. They tend to appreciate, oh, it's straightforward facts, bullet points, focus on the solutions. And this is the one thing, I don't know how many times per day I've been consciously deleting that from my emails. Do you guys notice? I think we should blah, blah, blah. And I try to go back, we should blah, blah. But I've done it probably 7 times today already. I'm just going to take that out. It sounds a little stronger, and why am I hedging all the time? You know, I do think it, and it's a good idea, but I don't have to say, oh, I just think, or that, oh, I just did this thing, so it's not that great. We don't need to diminish. This is another problem that is very common, that we are trained that we shouldn't be wrong, right? That women shouldn't raise their hand, answer a question if they aren't sure about the answer. Have you guys ever felt that? And I know the women students in my program, we're up to about 23% right now, which is a coup. We've done a million things, and it's been as low as like 5% before. And I've asked them, do you hesitate answering questions for fear that you'll be wrong? And secondarily, then everybody will say, girls don't belong here. Mary didn't know the answer because girls are dumb. Whereas John says total wrong answer. Nobody says, oh, all boys are dumb. No, the 90% guys are like, yeah, John's dumb. And so kind of that pressure still where we can't show people that we're weak because they already know that we are. So that's just one more nail in the coffin. So we need to speak up and be confident, and it's okay to be wrong, and that may be hard when we're used to only saying things when we know we're right. But yeah, you have to get beyond that. Be confident, censor your inner self-censorship. And I don't know how many of you got to see Amy Cuddy. She was on campus this Tuesday. She does kind of the power pose, and there's a little bit of pushback on how legitimate that is. But overall, the power posture, I do really like that. Be confident. And I think it's the worst when you have girls that are kind of standing like this, that they're slumped, and part of it is they don't want anybody looking at their chest, and they just want to, you know, melt away. And how, you know, we can just be confident. Why do we have to do that? Or, you know, guy next to us is shorter than us. Well, that's not my problem. You know, I don't need to. Although I have to say, in one dance picture, I did this. And there was my date. And, you know, just because that's a long-term thing for him to recognize he was a lot shorter than me. All right. And this is kind of hard. I am also just naturally a conflict avoider. I think not all women are, but I happen to have that and be a woman. So there are times where I just don't want to say things that are going to get people angry or whatever, just kind of go sideways at it. But the boys, they just bash it out, and then they're best friends. And girls silently kind of bash it out, and then they're mad for 2 more weeks. And so when we're working with a bunch of men, the way of operating is just going to be, we just have it out. That's a dumb idea. And you tell me back, no, it's not. We're like, oh, okay. And we move on. But if I just say, why were you even thinking that? And then, you know, for 3 weeks, she's going to avoid me. I'm like, oh, I was wrong. I shouldn't have said that to her. But I'm not going to apologize to her. And, you know, so we just have to get used to these small skirmishes and be comfortable with conflict and being just, you know what, John, you're wrong on that. And here's why. And he may not like you for 10 minutes or an hour, but they're not likely to hold that long-term grudge like women are. This is a funny website, so I threw some of these in. Try to make sure I'm not blocking. That, by the way, this is tongue-in-cheek, in case you weren't sure. There's 9 of these on this website, and it talks, you know, below each one's a little bit snarkier. But sometimes we're told, well, they'll feel threatened if you tell them I need it done by Monday, that we have to kind of use the feminine. So would you mind if you got it working on Monday? Would that work for you? Because it would help me if you could have that done on Monday. And I don't think we need to do that. That just makes me angry. Or number 2, when we're sharing our ideas. Have you felt that way before? Like, I can't just say it straight on. So I just say, you know, thinking out loud, you know, it might be crazy, but what if we did this thing that really is a good idea? That you're kind of hedging, and, you know, you don't want to appear too smart, because nobody likes the girls, you know, Hermione. I'm like, why would anybody find fault with Hermione? I love her, you know, she's smart, she works hard. Oh, no, she's too bossy and smart. Well, no, she's not. So perception's there. All right, when someone's taking credit. You've never seen that, huh? Oh. So there are some times when I've just been up front, or if I'm in a meeting with another woman and I hear their idea get dismissed kind of, and then a guy says it, then I can say, you're right. Yeah, that idea that Mary said and that you just said again, that's a great idea. We ought to stand together. But have you seen stuff like this? Where again, we don't want to look too bossy. So just cutesy and smiley face, and just if you can. Okay, thanks. This one. Mansplaining, right? That sometimes you just let them do it, and sometimes I say, oh yeah, remember I taught you that. And that's probably not the best thing to just be direct like that. All right. Have you seen people do that? Or the Barbie, math is hard. And again, that aggravates me. That, you know, I'm usually pretty confident in my numbers, that I'm fine in math. I don't need to say, oh, math. That's kind of ridiculous. I'm going to toggle over for a second because this is related, and I'll just show you on this screen. There's a website that's pretty funny. Have you guys seen this? So if you're not sure how your meeting's going, and if you have, the same people that you meet with frequently, that this might be helpful in a longer term picture, that if a dude's talking, you go ahead and click a dude. And it's going, and when the dude's done talking, when there's a lady speaking, and not a dude, then you go there and keeps your running total. And so you can see, you just, have it in one of your tabs at the end of the meeting, oh, the dude percentage was 93% and the not a dude was 7. That's probably not right. So anyway, arementalkingtoomuch.com is what it is. Isn't that a little on point there? All right. So have you guys had communication issues where you thought, this is a gendered thing? Yeah.
Going back to your slides is, we women will say an idea, and the men will totally dismiss it, and then not even half an hour later, one of them will say it and take total ownership of it, and we're just sitting there going, now do I sit there right now and tell them that originally that was my idea, or do I go along and let him think that it was his idea? And that's a real tough one, especially in the industry I work in.
What's your industry?
Enterprise risk management.
Oh.
I emailed you back and forth.
What's your name? Okay.
About information systems.
Yeah.
So.
We're compliant.
Yeah. I have a strategy adjunct here if you like it.
Okay.
Okay. And I work with a lot of men in both enterprise risk management strategy world and this, and it's hard because I don't want to come across whiny, or you guys aren't giving me a fair shot. I want to be seen as an equal. And sometimes it's really hard when I'm the one that initially comes up with all the ideas, but I don't get the credit. And then I find myself like doing all the secretarial type stuff.
That's the next section.
Instead of doing the real creative stuff, which is where I really feel that I'm better suited to do. And I don't know how you get out of that. I really struggle with that.
That's a really good point, and it looks like you already saw my slides, because we are going to practice right here, and my notes. You were in a meeting with your team, and you had a great idea that didn't get noticed until the man repeated. So practice in the room what you're going to do. That was the exact scenario I thought we should talk about. Yeah. So
that's a real problem.
It is. So what are some of the solutions that others in the room have had success with? I've tried a few things. I don't know what the best is. Gayla.
I think sometimes you can ask the question. Just say, help me understand how what you said is different than what I said.
Oh, okay. Write that one down.
So, it gives them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Maybe there was some nuance to it that was different that you didn't see, but it also, puts it out there that essentially that's what you said very recently.
Excellent.
And then I think your point about how we need to, and not just with women, because it happens to other men too, but whenever you see someone taking credit like that you speak up and be the voice that says, that's the point that was made earlier, and I'm glad you're reinforcing it, or, something like that.
I agree with the helping everybody else too. And I think we may be a little more aware of it than other people are in the room, so I feel that's a responsibility for me to stand up for Andrea here, or even if it was John, to say, hey, I don't think everybody heard John's idea. Brooklyn.
I had an experience this semester where I'm in a big group and we're trying to come up with a business idea. And so I had this business idea, and then my friend, also in the group, took it and everybody thought it was their idea. And I didn't really care because they had that same passion. Like when an idea is your idea, you have a passion behind it. And so I thought, okay, I have passion behind this idea, and they do too.
So it'll be achieved,
yeah.
even though yeah.
A few weeks later, we were giving each other feedback, and the feedback I got was, oh, like I know you've done stuff, but I never hear your ideas. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this big project that we're working on was my idea. And so after that.
And this is probably a peer evaluation that goes back to the professor?
Exactly, yeah. And so after that happened, I just realized how important it is to kind of
one way to maybe backpedal, and maybe you don't want to go this way, is to the next time you say something great and somebody else is taking credit, you're like, I am sorry. I got burned on this one time before, so I just want to make it clear that I actually had this great idea. And they've added to it. But when I've had people think that I don't make any contributions, I've learned that I need to be a little more vocal about that. So it doesn't say, you guys are dumb, you didn't catch that. But it's just saying, this is why it's important for me, for you to recognize that. Yeah?
Bonnie, I want to share a real quick story. In my business strategy 498 class, my first semester teaching here, I had a young man come up to me and say that he couldn't work with this group of girls because they weren't responding to his emails and texts and everything. He demanded that I put him on another team with all guys. And I said, I'd like to mix it up and stuff. And he goes, no, really, I cannot be on this team. And I go, okay. So I moved him on this team. But guess what happened? Most of those girls did way better than the guys' team that he was on. And I didn't even realize until after I graded their team strategic analysis paper, the girls who went to the mat. They're the ones that put in the hard work. The group that he chose to be with, they didn't do a very good job. So I think we women have to take pride and say, okay, no matter where you put me, I'm going to still show that I can do my best. You know, and don't let, and I even see this now every semester, where there's certain groups that just don't work well with females and other groups that do. And I think we need to back up the women and say, no, they have a good idea here. And I look back at my thing, and I should have really said to this young man, I don't think that's fair to this team, that you abandoned them after a month. Because it was a whole semester project. I should have been a little more.
Although they were probably glad to have him gone. It sounds like.
Why did you move him?
Oh.
And then I said, well, he said that you guys didn't respond to his texts and emails. He never even reached out to us. And so what I'm trying to say, but they actually, I mean, I go, well, look at the thing. You guys did way better than that other group did. So, you know, maybe it was better that he wasn't on your team.
So in my undergraduate program, we have teams of 4, and they have 4 or 5 classes, or usually just 4 classes together per term. So it's across all those classes. You're in that same team, and you do big integrated projects all the semester. And we try to be very careful in group dynamics about not sticking a woman by herself and some other things. And for some reason, one time we ended up with, now I can't remember if it was only a team of 3, which is kind of a weird thing, or if it's 4, but it was all women, and they had said, please, can we do this? And they called themselves Team Estrogen. And they rocked it. I mean, this was hardcore development, building your own server and this and that, you know, an interactive website and all of that. And they rocked it, and I think it surprised some of the guys. And I just thought, see what you guys have been missing, the ones, oh, I can't have a girl in my group. Yeah. One last comment.
And I don't want this to be victim blaming or anything like that, but sometimes I have seen women's ideas get ignored because they don't, one of your first points was to speak authoritatively, and also because they don't literally take their seat at the table. You go in a room and it doesn't look like there's enough chairs at the table, and in my experience, women tend to be the ones that'll take those chairs, you know, that are up against the wall, or that will sort of hang back to let, so take your place at the table where your voice is literally more easily heard, and if you have to pull up a chair and ask somebody to scoot over, that's okay. So part of making sure that your ideas get recognized is literally making sure that they are heard clearly, and that sometimes they get ignored anyway, but sometimes it's because we're not speaking as authoritatively and not taking our seat at the table.
Oh, you're exactly right. Thank you, and sorry we're out of time for more discussion on that. I wanted to get to tasks. Have you guys ever been the one, oh, you've got the best handwriting, will you take the notes, or will you order the food, or will you make the copies? And we can do all of those, but is that my primary task? No, it's because you guys are stereotyping that, oh, girls' handwriting is better than guys. And honestly, my handwriting is better than most of my co-authors, and when we're writing stuff on the whiteboard, sometimes it's hard to read when they're writing it. But I don't say, I can't read that, let me do it. I'm like, okay, it's your turn, yeah, go ahead. Or even typing. They're fine typing notes and all the typos, whatever, and I'm watch it and just enjoying it. You know, it's not my job. We all take turns, and that's where we need to be. So if it's we're all pitching in right now and somebody needs to order food, and I can do that. You know, I guess it's my turn to order the food. That's fine, but if it's always, No, because you're the girl. You know how much to order. You know what type of foods people will like. Do I? How would I know that? And maybe I do, but is that a fair assumption? And just, I read about a lady who thought it'd be nice to bring coffee for her boss one time, her first day on the job. And then the next day, he's like, oh, I thought you were getting me coffee. She's like, no, I am not your go-to coffee girl. That you don't want to set up the thing where, yeah, I'll take the notes this time, but just, so next time we can take turns. So, and I'm okay with saying that, and maybe I'm a little too aggressive or whatever, that, about fairness, that we can all take turns. I don't think that this is a gender-specific thing. And I say that for pretty much everything. One thing poor Jenny's heard me say, when you're getting a development team for software development, unless your product is exclusively for use by men, you should have women on your development team. And same with this, is there some genetic reason a man can't do this? Is the job birthing a child? No, okay. You can make the copies. You can, make the reservation. Right? Sorry. And my cute I have 10-year-old twins. One of them, what are you talking about, Mom? Teaching them to fish? I said, have you ever heard that if you give them a fish, they eat for a day, but if you teach them to fish? She's like, why would anybody want to eat fish? I started my mission in Japan and ate all I wanted, and now I don't. And there are ways to make it kind of friendly instead of, I'm sick of doing this for you guys. Can't you do it yourself? But if they honestly don't know how to use, and I'm going to say kind of our copier that also scans things, for PDFs and stuff, you just say, oh, yeah, let me show you. It's easy once you're taught. So they don't have to feel stupid or whatever, but why shouldn't they learn that thing? Again, there may be a couple cases where their time is super valuable, or they're this or that or whatever, and yes, my time is less valuable than, if President Worthen wanted me to make copies, I'd make copies for him. But if we're going to be working long term, maybe I'd show him. It's just right there. If you just need a quick copy, you could just go right there. It's just easy. And stand up for your own time, especially like in groups where you're mostly equals. If you get stuck doing the busy work that needs to be done, but it's all piled on you, then you can't get the stuff that you want to do completed. And there's some research that shows we have to outperform to get over the stereotype, oh, she's just here because she's a girl. So the last thing that we need is, I didn't get this research paper done because I was busy doing the administrative tasks that you assigned to me. So this is an interesting graphic here about housework type tasks versus the glamour tasks. And you think, how often do we see women kind of nudged into those roles? And there's, oh, well, women are naturally good at managing people and whatever, and men are naturally better at sales and building, and I don't think there's a case. Again, there's sometimes heavy things you have to lift in certain industries maybe, but beyond that and birthing children, there are a lot of things that both genders can do. So just be careful when you see yourself getting kind of nudged over to here at the expense of this. For me, it's specifically thinking about if I am managing which subjects come in for the study, and I'm not helping write the paper, that's not going to help me. I need this to progress in my career. This isn't going to get me anywhere. It needs to be done, and so we can all take turns doing it. All right, we'll come back, again, because we got started later, and I have some other things that I want to do a little more than time on this. If we have time at the end, we'll come back to get some of your experience and ideas when they've asked you to do those things. And my little notes on here, what to ask, was, again, the handwriting thing. I got that so many times. My handwriting's better because I care. I take time. If you guys cared, yours could be nice too. But we're all great typing, so you go ahead, type that. All right, confidence. Here's a nice quote that I like by Jane Goodall. You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference. You have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. So I'm going to make a difference, and so is Andrea, and so is Jane. So why should I be like this and kind of slouch? And again, the Amy Cuddy thing about the kind of, what does she call it? Not smalling, but the opposite of broadening, the kind of shrinking kind of poses. Why should we not be confident? And this is hard for a lot of us, that we are trained, that's bragging. That's not becoming of a lady to brag. And men do it all the time. Well, of course. And so we need to figure out, because we aren't just going to get noticed. A lot of us, I think that if I do good work, people are going to notice. And a lot of times, and this is hard for me as well to say, hey, I did this great thing, because I think the women in the room are going to go, why is she so braggy? And the guys are probably thinking it too. So some things that I've come up with is when my team does awesome stuff, and this has been really fun for me, because my team recently has been crazy good. We are top in the world in our field in research. And I can say that about our team. And I've noticed I have one colleague when we're at conferences and he presents and he says, well, in my research, I did this and that, and that's why I'm top in the world. And I think, I never say I about our research, because we've always done it in a team. You know, he may have his own separate other research he can use that, but not this stuff that I'm part with him. That should be our and we. And that one, I think, is a lot easier for us. So if our team does well, then it's easy for me to say, hey, Andrea and I worked really hard and we got this done really well, instead of I'm the best. Do you guys know that? So do that. Or another thing is that I can say, hey, Jane, I really hate telling people what I've accomplished. Would you mind kind of bubbling that up a little bit? And if you have anything that you want me to bubble up, I would really be happy to do that. Have you guys found, and now, so I'm department chair, now I can go in mama bear mode, right? It's one thing when I've just whatever level, but now I'm responsible for these people and I need to make sure that they're treated fairly. And that's the same thing, you know, Jane's my friend, she did this thing. I want people to know she did that thing. And I'm not braggy, because it's Jane's thing that she did that's awesome. And so she's getting the credit and not having to deal with as many of those issues about women need to demur and all of that. And this we talked about a little bit already, that if you're too aggressive, oh, that's manly, that's unbecoming. But if you don't do enough, oh, well, it's because she's too feminine. And I want to remove politics. But if you talk about criticisms of Hillary Clinton, that, you know, she's too bold. But you have her male counterparts crazy out there. And yeah, well, he's just, you know, a braggart. But he doesn't get criticized. That's unbecoming of a man to say outrageous statements like that. And just, there's a lot of a double standard going on. And so it's kind of tricky sometimes to weave. And I'll give you this to look at. Have you ever done that? Downplayed your accomplishments? I know I have, because I don't want to make people feel bad, right? We just want to be warm and welcoming. And there are times, like even when I did the intro to this talk, how I said I'm not professionally qualified to speak about this. I've experienced it, but this isn't my area of research, and there are probably people who are. And like Lori Wadsworth in the next section, I know that is her area of research. She spent a lot of time there. That's going to be really good. And looking at the titles of the others, I think all other 5 presentations, they're professionally qualified to teach those things. I'm experience-wise. I have survived it, but have I been thriving? Hopefully better post today. And this is kind of a sad statement, that top one. So it's kind of an uphill battle. And so I think there are a couple things that are good. Here's one. So I've been known for my gratitude thing. Every night before bed, or if I am teaching classes, we do it in class. Document something that we're grateful for, and it helps us be more humble and appreciate the Lord's hand. Also healthier and smarter. The research shows that too. But this, she does an accomplishments journal. I was surprised when I read about that. But I can see, you know, if she takes a little bit of time to say, what went well today? That can really boost your self-esteem to realize I am making a difference. And even if, you know, I do a million little things in the day, these are 3 things that went well. And I'm glad I did that.
I usually end up with a very long to-do list during the day, and as I check things off, it's just moving to the next thing. But when I started keeping a list of, I accomplished, this is my to-do list, and this is what I've accomplished from it, I noticed that I was more productive and more confident in what I was doing as well.
That's a really good idea. And my current way of doing to-do is terrible because when it's done, it's erased. And I need to move it to the completed so I can see, look at all that I did, instead of here's what's left to do. So thank you for mentioning that. All right, what if you don't feel confident? Fake it till you make it. Would they have hired you, or would you be in this position or whatever if you weren't? Every once in a while, there's that little nudge. Well, Melanie, you got in because you're a girl. You're not qualified, but we have to have some girls in here.
Which is so funny because that goes against all of the other research successes. Women have to prove themselves above and beyond, and then men just see that as you were given the free ride. So it's like
It's both there. That you got in here because you're not qualified because you're a girl, so I have to see that you're extra qualified. If you do the same level as the guy, that's okay, but the reason, because you're the token in here, you have to be even better to deserve that spot that you were given. And that is a really frustrating thing. So one of the things is act like you belong. You know, shoulders back, you know, not exactly Wonder Woman pose, but don't shrink. And when they're shaking hands, you know, you give them the firm handshake. Why would we do, oh, I'm feminine? Give me. That just seems inappropriate for me. And just, you can do it. We're actually going to talk about that later too. Whoops, wrong keyboard. All right, so this, oh yeah.
I did have a comment. It's one of those experiences that I've had and that I don't know where it came from, but I was actually doing a presentation here, giving an award to somebody at BYU, and I walked in. I don't know if you were here, Julie, maybe you were. I walked in a room like this, and all the men were here. The food was here, all the men were here, and the faculty, and then there were 3 women sitting right next to the food. And I walked in, and it was my, I don't know what took over me, but I walked in and I said, we gotta get more women in here. And all the men just stared at me. But it was such a stark example of where we also put ourselves. Because the women, I don't think you were here, John, sitting by themselves by the food. Regardless of your staff, administrative, faculty status, sit where you want to sit. Don't assume that you, much like your comment, but sit where, intermingle, whether that's at a business lunch, anywhere. Don't just sit by the other women. Sit amongst your colleagues because you belong.
That's excellent. Thank you. I was going to mention, because it seemed related, maybe it's a little more tangential now. I went to the Utah Tech Awards, Utah Tech Council Gala. Does anybody go to that this past, I don't know, a couple months ago? And they give out a couple of awards, and Amy Reese Anderson was one of the award winners, and then 2 guys. And do you know who handed out the awards? 12 guys, just in a row, and their nice tuxes and whatever. And Orrin Hatch was one of the guys, and Satya, is it Nadella? Anyway, Microsoft CEO was there. And then the awards committee, I'd looked in the program, is 12 men. And then they started talking, we really need more women. So let's think how we can get women in, junior high. And I'm agreeing, yes, that's true, but how about you start where you are? That it seems like a lot of empty words when what I'm seeing is 12 men and no women on that committee. So I think we need to be there. Oh, have you heard the word manel? That's a panel of only men. You like that one? And the people that I follow on Twitter are women who are in tech. It's some men too, but the women are the ones that are talking about. And here we have, again, another manel. Did you guys see the BYU Women in Math? Yes. And that's a long, complicated story. But that type of thing where really you couldn't find a single woman to be on your panel, and there's, again, it's not quite that situation, but that's what it looked like. And at these tech conferences, yeah, here's a bunch of men. Really, there's not one woman in the world that could go in there. So we need to be raising our hands and saying yes, sometimes to help with that. If we're trying to be men, then that's a waste of a woman. And then Grace Hopper is someone that we salute in my field, the COBOL genius, the lady who came up with bugs in programming. She is the COBOL master. All right, we are really running out of time. But visibility begats access, begats opportunity. So don't say, and there was a thing that I knew I was going to be asked if I wanted to do it or not, and I thought, oh, it's going to be a lot of work and whatever, and I thought, any guy that was asked would say for sure. Why would they not do that? And it was an opportunity for whatever. I said, well, I should do that too. And yeah, it's some visibility begets access begets opportunity, that you have to stand up and lean in or raise your hand or whatever metaphor you want to use. Although we get asked a lot, so sometimes you have to know if you need to say no. But think, what could this do? Instead of, oh, there are probably guys who are more qualified. No, take that chance. And sometimes I deliberately wear like a red jacket. If I am in some sort of photo, I don't know that I want to wear my black jacket with all the guys in their black jackets. But I do want to stand out. And sometimes people notice me more because I do stand out. All right, again, I'm sorry we don't have time to do as many things as I wanted there. Mentoring and networks, even more critical. That there's a lot of guys that just kind of do the same sports or like same sports team or whatever, you know, about restoring old cars and stuff that I don't want to waste my time talking with them about that. And I don't need to. So, but reaching out to women sometimes can be a little bit hard because a lot of them are overworked anyway. There are so few up there. But it's worth doing. It's also good if you can have two. This is some information I got recently. You have the one that's going to help pull you to the next level, and then you have the other one that you can confess to that, here's a problem, what do I do now? Don't tell these mistakes to that one. They say make sure those are separate. Make sure you have the one that can help you through crises, and then the one that can be, you know, where are we going to be 6 months down the road and a year down the road? So try to get a couple of those. And working together. I read something a little discouraging the other day that said, oftentimes women are the worst to other women because that's their thing, right? So if I'm the only woman in my department, that's my thing, I may not want another woman in the department because then now what am I? Well, there's only 2 women. Well, that's not as, I don't know, impressive or stark contrast or something. That we need to help others, that it's ridiculous that women are so hard on other women. So collaboration is the new black, right? It fits with everything. And then this, I read a little bit about your inner mentor. You know, we are so hard on ourselves just on a daily basis that I would never say, oh, Julie, you look terrible in that color. But I would say, oh, Bonnie, are you sure you want to wear that? Why don't we be nicer to ourselves in the present, but also looking ahead, right? Would older me be mean to younger me? Would older me say, give up, there's no way you're going to do that? Or would they say, you've got this, right? So calm ourselves down with future self. And then male allies. I mentioned early on that men tend to listen to other men. And I think in the LDS culture, men are trained unofficially that men are over men and women are over children or other women. That there aren't many positions where men listen to the women. And so it seems even more of a thing, like, why should I do what Jane says? She's a woman. She's not over me. And so what helps, and again, I've done a lot of research on this, is having men deliver messages to other men. And there are plenty of willing men, and especially, we had a meeting just yesterday that was kind of funny with the Dean Search candidate, and there was a guy was in one of the meetings with me, and he and I have traveled together before where you have a long bus ride and nothing to talk about. So I'm in the dark, is in Egypt, so let me tell you what it's like for a woman, blah, blah, blah. And that he remembered that enough to bring it up and say, I didn't realize how things were, and that he's become more of an advocate. And so there are a lot of great guys out there, and if you could just say, hey, Tony, would you mind next time somebody does whatever, just say, like back to, I think Bonnie had that idea, how was yours different? Or, you know, a few things like that, or I'm happy to deliver the message to the students that they shouldn't be judging you on your appearance. That shouldn't go in the student comments. Things like that, that sometimes men listen better to other men. And I don't think that we need to say we're helpless without men. And there are a lot that really want to do, they're like, how can we help? We see there's a problem. So don't think that's a weakness to have men helping you on that. And the other point Colette was mentioning is if we just stay to ourselves, that's not going to help anything. That we need to be broadening our circle, bringing men in until we're all in the same big group together. So yeah, isolating ourselves from the men, that it's us versus them, totally the wrong thing. It's win-win. You know, men aren't losing by having more women in the field. There's room for everybody. All right, so last of all, I have this actually on the door in my office. So when it's closed, you can see that. And here's how you pronounce it. Dekiru yo. Does anybody speak Nihongo? All right, it's Japanese. And it's just this little upbeat. And when my kids and I say it, we do kind of the dekiru yo kind of intonation. And I have it there because I've talked with our women students, and a lot of them feel like, oh, I don't know if I belong. And because they've been hearing girls about computers, or the counselor in junior high said, no, don't take that tech class, that's for boys. And I'm like, no, you can do it. And so that's kind of our little code. When they come in my office, oh, I don't know, I'm over. No, you can do it. Let me be that little voice in your ear, countering the other voices. No, you don't belong here. Yeah, you do. Or all four of my daughters do a lot of Chinese. Some are in immersion, and some are fourth year, and whatever. Yoban fa, does anybody know that? Will you explain what it means? Good. We say there is a way. And so I have this on the mirrors in the bathrooms around my house. I have a silhouette kind of thing, so we've got it all fancy and vinyl in Chinese. And they can tell you which tones they are. I'm not great at that. But there's a way. So when you guys are sitting frustrated, oh, I don't know if I can do it, think of me saying, dekiru yo, and I'm happy to make either of these in vinyl for you. Super easy. I have a lot of colors. And I do have those crazy fonts. So I love this quote here. I'll let you guys read it yourselves. So we're not going to just survive. We are going to thrive. Actually, this came in UVU solicitation to my daughter. Please come to our school. And she got accepted here. So for those who know how it's been this year. She's a really good kid. All right. And just on one last note, so if you guys need a mustache, I mentioned I've got a silhouette, please take a mustache on your way out the door. I'll put some kind of a couple places. So we are set now. Sorry we didn't have as much discussion for lack of time, but feel free to come talk to me later. Oh. And this is where all these slides are posted. You can take the long or the short. I should have left it on that for a minute.